And so, there was a great question. I mentioned earlier in a video about sending a bow to Texas as a replacement for one that I shipped out that was sinew back but not finished. It was intended to be tillered and turned into a finished bow. And things happen, death during tillering. And so the young man who received that bow originally, gracious, respectful, tried to actually talk me out of sending another bow. You know, just sending them to him. Merry Christmas. You know, helping a young lad along that's in the process of becoming a bow maker. And so, you know, why not? I scoured. This way, right there is the open door of my unheated workshop. And I've got all sorts of things laying around there. Staves, some finished bows. My drawings just blew away in this little breeze. It actually feels quite nice out here. But it's like, what do I do for this guy? And so I thought, after great deliberation, give him a modest bow. I'm going to go track down. Don't go away. There we go. Give him a modest bow. Not flashy, but a good bow. A bow that represents, in my mind, and hopefully in his, though it's a finished bow, and you'll see it working as bows do, throwing arrows, that it could be deconstructed. The handle, let me just take it, the handle could be removed, although it is kind of nice. It's stitched rawhide. The tips could be changed. Could remove the hair tuft, recurve the tips, and then put the hair tuft back on. But the options are almost limitless for this. It could be sinew backed, with the sinew that was reclaimed off of that bow that died during tillering. And it's a basic D bow, which in its own right works nicely. So actually, the curing time for that sinew, if you were to do a protective layer to give it a little bit more horsepower, a little greater draw length, you wouldn't have to wait 8 months. You'd probably only have to wait about a month or so in a dry climate after sinew backing this, if it's not a power layer, to begin shooting it. Because the sinew is only helping, it's not an integral part of this. And so, with that said, it's a learning bow, it's a wooden teacher, it's a working bow. The farther you draw it back, the heavier it is. Very capable bow. So this one is going to be heading off to Texas. Now I have this piece of paper here. It's kind of a lesson. If you've purchased my book, there might be stuff in there. I'm just joking around with you, just like yesterday with Dr. Zayas and 2 Santa Clauses. Which, by the way, seemed like a great idea at the time, but this morning when I woke up and thought about it, it's like, nah. You know, some people saw it, they got a laugh. There it is. It disappears like the wind. Talking about tension and compression. And what I have here, grab this Nix bow, in process, are 2 cross sections. You see it's rectangular. It's like if that tip was looking right at you. On the back of the bow, you have the tension. And look at this highly advanced drawing here. This squiggly line and those little tick marks. That is the wood that's under the greatest amount of tension. It's on the surface. The farthest point from the neutral plane, which is that line that goes down the center, which doesn't do anything except bend. Then you have compression on the belly side. And so I have this because I have a question. I have a question to ask myself. This bow currently, recurve, American elm, is it approximately 55 pounds, maybe a little above, at 28 inches of draw. And that's higher than he wants. That is higher than he wants. And so I have a couple choices. I can maintain that rectangular shape and just thin it, which it's going to start getting thin to get it down to the weight that is desired. I have another option, and that's to remove mass, remove wood from the back of the bow, the tension side. Now, a lot of people, myself included in the beginning, and this is a lenticular shape. The back is curved and it's almost a knife edge. It's going to be exaggerated. But you would think that when you bring this to a knife edge, it's so thin down here on the belly side that in effect you are making the bow narrower, and this is just extra wood that doesn't do anything. That would be the case if the neutral plane was right along the belly, but the neutral plane is in the midst of the bow. Let you digest that a little bit. Now if you round that back, you are going to drive that neutral plane down, but you're not going to bring it all the way down right to the surface of the belly. And so, in effect, that width, even though it's very, very thin here, the knife edgy part, you still have a wide, the original width for compression because the neutral plane's placement. Now what you do is you're going to take that wood that's supporting it in tension and you're going to shorten that. You're going to focus it down the center, down the crown of the bow. In the case of elm, you're okay. In the case of hickory, you would be okay. Depending on weight, you know, any bow would be okay. Elm is a particularly interesting wood because it has interlocking grain like hickory. That means that it doesn't just like peel off on the layers. It's very hard to split because it has interlocking grain. It wants to hold together. What I'm going to do is to reduce that bow that is before me in weight. Instead of just thinning it, I'm going to round the back. That is what I'm doing down here. I am going to round the back, remove mass, lower its weight by crowning it, and then, just as added insurance, he didn't ask for it, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I want to make sure that this thing, 65 inches, 63 inches knock to knock, 28 inch draw, and so, you know, it's pushing the limits of draw length versus the length knock to knock. I'm going to rawhide back it, which will, in conjunction with that rounded back, all goes to plan, make everything happy, because that rawhide will add extra integrity. Now for a 35-pound bow, I gave that away at 28 inches. What I am thinking is that it's not going to be overly stressed. The 35-pound bow at 28 inches, you know, what you're going to see probably will be string follow eventually, but not an explosive event. The rawhide, they're watching me, the deer, they're everywhere. The rawhide's going to help prevent the string follow, control it, so all should be good. What should we take away from this? I guess two things really. Three if you don't count yesterday's video about pudding. Is that any bow really can be a blank slate. You can take a bow that you have made previously and you can rework it into the bow of your dreams, and that's hopefully what Senior Growling Bear will do, or else just use it as it is. It's a nice bow. The second thing is this whole deal about cross sections. The neutral plane, a lenticular shape, compression, the wood under compression, the wood under tension, where these forces lie. I have to admit, at one point in my life, I was totally in favor of decrowning bows. I was chasing that perfect rectangular cross section. The fact of the matter is, as I progressed, I realized that in many cases the crown is your friend. If you design the bow within the limits of the wood, crowned bows, from what I've seen, this is a point of argument, this is just my belief, I don't want to push it on anyone necessarily, is that a crowned bow, dimension per dimension, may in fact be a little quicker, a little better bow, because you're stressing it a little bit more than decrowning it and having a flat, perfectly rectangular cross-section. Of course, there are always exceptions to that. If you have Osage, for example, I said it both ways so I can't get gagged. If you have an Osage bow, Osage is an amazing wood, so you don't even need to really worry about that. It's going to be a decent bow if you design it right, regardless of the cross-section. Osage is that kind of a wood. Probably the converse, is that it has an amazing ability to withstand compression that's concentrated. You have round-bellied yew bows, and they're probably faster in many cases than if you flatten that belly, because it wants to be stressed to that point, and you can take that. That's why you would see the round-bellied English longbows and English warbows. Yew likes to be that way. Likes to have round bellies. Makes a fast bow. Somehow, as you go into the layers, let me find my diagram here, and I'm going to kind of cheat by doing it backwards. Let's reverse this. Let's say that this is the back that's flat, and this is the belly that's round. The yew's ability as a wood to spread that compressional force deeper beyond the surface is one of the reasons why, indeed, it's a favorable condition to have a round belly. It's able to, like a sponge, in a way, when you squeeze it, that compression can go deeper in. It's distributed within the bow more than just being concentrated on the outer layer. Anyway, that's our science lesson for today. Beautiful weather. It feels so nice. It feels so nice. Okay, I'm going to just stand here like a goofball for a minute, because I'm going to start talking about something else. So if you want to just talk about bows, hear about bows, you can stop the video right now. Just absorbing this nice cool breeze. Okay, the next point is, I started watching a series while I was working on stuff in the living room, and it happened to be a series on Netflix called, I believe, Black Rock, and it's about an indigenous population in Canada, and it really drives the point home that we're talking about bows, we're talking about the old days, we're talking about the way things used to be, say as far as the way people thought and the way people operated and the way people did things. And it would be good to balance that off with how people are nowadays. It's one thing to sit down and talk about, you know, the stories of old and how people viewed the world, but we should maintain like that peripheral vision upon the way things are nowadays with indigenous populations. And I also include, say, Europeans that totally respect their past and their ancestors. I include that group of people in indigenous populations also. I'd hate to see like the history of a people wiped out in the name of political incorrectness. And now I am done. Now I am done. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your viewership. And, you know, get outside. Enjoy the fresh air. Enjoy the wind. Anyway, that's enough. Gotta go. Talk to you later.